Wisconsin calling right now.
Let me tell you how I really feel, okay?
Okay.
Aaron's the one who's going to fall on the sword. And I'm disappointed in the fact that he chose to go out like this because he's supposed to be better than that. So we should stop playing guessing games, and somebody ought to call him on the carpet and say, step up like a man and just say you don't want to be there and go ahead and let us trade you, get something for you. That's the real deal.
KJZ, ESPN Radio, and you hear the passion from Packers fans. And that was the curious thing that I had here is really what does he look like now in the eyes of Packer Nation? Let's go to Ryan Clark, who joins us right now on the Goodyear Hotline. Good morning, RC. There's a saying, you can either die the hero or live long enough to be the villain. Is that where Aaron Rodgers is right now in Packer Nation?
I don't know. I mean, fan stands for fanatic. And, so those guys aren't looking at everything holistically, right? They're not looking at that if Aaron Rodgers underperformed, he would get fired. They're not looking at that if Aaron Rodgers was walking around the building, mistreating executives, mistreating coaches, mistreating players, that he would be fired. That if Aaron Rodgers underachieved in helping his team win football games, he would be fired. So why can't Aaron Rodgers want to be in a different place if he feels like a lot of these things have been done in Green Bay? And so that's how he feels. He feels personally he hasn't been helped in the way that he would like to be. He hasn't been treated in the way he would like to be. The organization hasn't drafted, hasn't picked up players in the way that he feels would help him be the best that he could possibly be and win Super Bowls. So he wants to be on a new team. Ain't that how it works? That's how the contracts work for the team. So why can't it work like that for the players? Why can't the players take their careers into their own hands? And that's what Aaron Rodgers is doing. And so I think some of the people will be upset. But when you look at what Brett Favre said, I think it's an interesting dynamic. Brett Favre says he believes that if he feels the Packers got one up on him or he feels a certain way about someone in the organization, that he'll stop playing. Brett Favre's idea was, I'm just going to play forever to try to piss you off. And Aaron Rodgers is like, well, I'll just piss you off by not playing at all. I mean, it seems like an interesting dynamic, and you lose them how you got them, right? The same thing happened. You drafted Aaron Rodgers. He eventually took Brett Favre's place. And then you try to go get Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers said, wait, not so fast. You won't get me. Not before I get you.
RC, take your player hat off for a second, because I agree with you on players should take the power into their own hands. Put your CEO, if you were the owner of the Green Bay Packers, hat on. How would you handle this situation, Kurt?
Well, I think it all depends on how smart you want to be, right? You started this process a little early because you went to draft Jordan Love, but you were preparing to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, or preparing for Aaron Rodgers to not be an MVP caliber player and move on to your next quarterback. He just sped that up for you. And so now it's about having conversations with Aaron Rodgers that allow us to get the best divorce, right? This isn't one of those divorces that's tumultuous, right? Or a bad situation. He's not or she's not trying to withhold alimony or child support. What they want to do is come together, have the best conversation so the Green Bay Packers move on and you still do good. See, I'm not worried about, I don't want you to do bad. I want us both to do well. So send me to the Miami, send me to the Denver, the place that you can get something back. You might be able to get a young quarterback. You can get early round draft picks or early picks. And so you can be in a good place, Green Bay, and then have me in Denver where I have Cortland Sutton, I have Hamler, I have Noah Fant, I have Jerry Jeudy, I have a running back in Javonte Williams just drafted in a top 10 defense. See, everybody's happy. It's amicable. And so I think the Green Bay Packers are going to start thinking about business and not be in this personal realm that Aaron Rodgers seems to be with them.
Are you moving him, Ryan?
I am moving him. And for me, it's not even so much about the trade. Like, obviously, the hard part here, and, we all know that, is the money. Right, $17 million of that cap money or that dead money would come off after June, but you would still be into Aaron Rodgers a good bit of money if you release him then or if you trade him then. And so I think the smarter thing to do is find the best way to do business, because you don't want Aaron Rodgers to come in and make the locker room a place that people can't succeed, or make the locker room or make the building a place where we can't progress, where a Jordan Love can't continue to learn and be comfortable and become your quarterback of the future one day. So to me, I think the best thing would be for the organization to move him, just based on the things you hear about Aaron Rodgers and the ways that he can behave.
Ryan Clark joining us here on the Goodyear Hotline. So I want you to hear something that Browns coach Kevin Stefanski said on the Really Big Show, ESPN 850 in Cleveland. It's about Baker Mayfield. I want to get your thoughts after this, but it's in regards to the system quarterback question. Just take a listen.
Product of the system, I don't know if I believe in that. I think all of our players play within our system, but it's our job as coaches to put them in position to succeed. And sometimes we fall short, regardless of the position, regardless of the player, we need to do better. So Baker, I think everybody saw, and certainly, it's true that Baker got better as the season wore on, but I think the offense got better. I think our team got better as the season went on. And that's the natural evolution of a team, especially when you're implementing new systems on the other side of the ball, especially when you didn't have an offseason. I just felt like there was going to be growth that was going to occur during the season. So Baker, it's the same for every single one of our players. He has to be better. Our offensive line, our linebackers, everybody, we have to play better. I have to coach better. So the idea of improvement for just Baker is not true.
Your thoughts?
Well, I think he's saying all the right things, and I believe he's correct that Baker isn't necessarily a product of this system, but he is a product of good coaching. He is a product of good players around him. And I think for the most part, that's who we all are. And when we start talking about these transcendent and generational talents at the position, Baker Mayfield isn't that. But I do believe he can be an extremely good quarterback. And there were times last year, if you go back to the Tennessee Titans game, the Baltimore Ravens game late in the season, that he wasn't just good, he was excellent. And you can get those days and get those times for Baker Mayfield. And that's what Kevin Stefanski was brought there to do. Will he ever be a top 5 quarterback in the league? I don't believe that. But he can be a top 10 quarterback. He could be a guy that makes Pro Bowls. He could be a dude that's your franchise quarterback for 10 plus years if coached correctly, if put in the right space, and if in the right headspace, which he seemed to be late last season. And from how quiet he's been this offseason, I believe he's still there. And so, we could say that guys are a product of the system. Hell, we've tried to say Tom Brady was a product of the system for 2 decades, and the dude got 7 Super Bowls. And so I don't think that it really matters what system we try to say you are a project of or a product of, as long as you play football. There's only going to be so many Patrick Mahomes, so many Aaron Rodgers, that even though we've only seen them in one place, we feel like they can be great everywhere because of their talent. You have to be put in these positions to succeed, and that's what Baker Mayfield was, and he played very well last year.
Ryan Clark, a product of the cover 3. No, just kidding.
I was, though, Key.
No, I'm just joking. I don't even know what coverages you ran. I'm just messing with you. When you talk about Baker Mayfield, you said everything about Baker Mayfield except he can win a Super Bowl. Can he win a Super Bowl with the Cleveland Browns? Is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I think he is. I believe he is, especially the way that this team is moving. I got to hear you guys before I came on, and Key, you were just talking about teams that improve, whether it was Kansas City, now getting blocking and going out and getting Orlando Brown and added pieces through free agency for Patrick Mahomes. The New England Patriots now getting Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, and doing some of those things. Think about what Cleveland did. Cleveland was a liability defensively. So you get Johnson and Hill from the Rams. You get Greg Newsome because he's the best player at the time. Owusu Koromora falls from Notre Dame. He's a first-round pick. Now you have a plug-and-play will linebacker. And Key, you know how important this is when they go 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers, but you still want to run the football. Now you can keep a will backer on the field so you don't have to go little and go nickel, but you can also cover because he played half of his plays over the slot in college. And so when you start to make those moves, add Jadeveon Clowney opposite Myles Garrett, and Jadeveon Clowney's now in that number 2 spot where he's actually productive, now you've turned defense, which was a liability, into an asset. And you already have an offense that's going to run the football downhill, get into play action game. You're getting Odell Beckham Jr. back, and you add Anthony Schwartz, who's 10 flat in the 100. And so I think when you can kind of put all those pieces together, keep the continuity, but get better as well from a roster standpoint, and do it in the way Andrew Berry, the GM, did it, that you're not selling your soul for names. You are truly getting pieces that fit your team, what you want to do, and help you improve in the way that you need to. To me, right now, it's Kansas City up top, obviously, because they have Patrick Mahomes and all those weapons. And that next tier of teams is the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. And I expect one of those teams to challenge Kansas City in the AFC Championship this year.
Ryan Clark, we appreciate you. Thanks for the insight.
My guys, y'all have a good one.
All right, Ryan Clark on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Keyshawn J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. So